food. But if the living thing cannot live without air and water. All right. Next question, question 5. How can the plants move towards the direction of the sun? If you look back at what we have discussed earlier, plants, yes, even though it's grounded on the ground, but they can move their stem and tilt towards the sun to get more sunlight for the process of photosynthesis. Therefore, the plants tilt their stem is part of the way how they move towards the sun. So the plants tilt their stem towards the sun to get more sunlight. So the answer is they tilt. All right. They don't ask Teacher Andrew. Teacher Andrew can't communicate with the plants. I wish I can talk about plants. Oh, really, how are you? Huh? But anyway, next question number 6. Can this dog protect himself from being eaten? Answer is yes. All living things can respond to changes as response to danger. When they sense danger, they will either run or hide. So can this dog protect him?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our Zoom We Love Science today. So congratulate to those who are in Zoom today. You know the system, you know the rules, yeah? So make sure you listen to Teacher Andrew Lim very careful today. Complete your homeworks, upload in Padlet or Facebook if your file is heavy. If you upload on Padlet, please upload somewhere in YouTube or, in your Google Share Drive. Then pass the link in Padlet. Then complete the homework Google form that I'm going to send into the yellow group now. You can also upload into Facebook, copy the link. And before you submit the form, always check and copy down the Zoom information, right? So 225 students, congratulate. You have followed the rules and you complete the homework. Thank you. And I wish you a good lesson with Teacher Andrew today. Thank you, teacher. Andrew, on your screen, some of the what we call pop-up box. So can you close the pop-up box, please? Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we hear you clear. So at the moment, I turn off the chat and mute the student. If you need assistance, you can ask the co-host.
All right. Okay, a very good morning to everyone. We shall welcome to We Love Science, chapter 2, week 2. Today we're going to talk about the next chapter called plants. All right, so let us go with it. Plants now. Okay, so let us recap from let's watch a video on some of the submission on our last week homework. All right.
뭐해라는 두 글자에 네가 보고 싶어 날 속맘에 담아 이모티콘 하나 속에 달라지는 내 미묘한 심리를 알까 아니 바쁘지 않아 Nothing 나나 잠들어 있지 않아 Insomnia 냐냐 지금 다른 사람과 함께이지 않아 나도 너를 생각 중 우리의 네모칸 앞에 엄지손가락으로 장미꽃을 피워 향기 취할 것 같아 오직 둘만의 비밀의 정원
Okay, but basically, I thank everyone for submitting your homework. There are over 200 submissions across Padlet, Facebook, and Zalo. Thank you very much. And you have shown me that you have no what is living things and non-living things. So keep up the momentum and let us dive down to today's chapter on plants. Today we're going to cover 4 different categories. Number 1 is what is the characteristic of the plants. Number 2, where can the plants grow? Number 3, how can we classify plants? Number 4, what are the different parts of a plant? Today's lesson will be very dry, so bear with me. All right. Do you know that some plants are useful to us? They provide us with food, shelter, medicine, and materials for our daily life. Whereas some plants are actually harmful, such as the spine from the cactus that hurt us and the sap from the gum cane that cause rashes and itchy. So let's move on to the first section, characteristics. Plants are living things. They need air, water, and food to survive. They can make their own food. There are many types of plants around us in different shapes, sizes, and colors. So some people ask, Andrew, where does the plants grow? Well, there are 2 places that the plants grow. Number 1 is land. Number 2 is water. So for plants that grow on land, they can grow on the ground, on the trees, on the buildings, walls, garden, forest, or even drains. Whereas for plants growing in water, they can grow in lakes, ponds, and rivers. So, like living things and non-living things, we categorize plants into 2 categories. Number 1 is flowering plants, and number 2, non-flowering plants. Okay, next up. Flowering plants, how do we categorize flowering plants? As long as this particular plants have flowers, plants that produce flowers are known as flowering plants. Flowering plants produce flowers when they become adults, and eventually all those flowers will develop into fruits that contain seeds. And bear in mind that flowering plants may not bear flowers all the time. You may see these particular plants don't have flowers full of leaves, but all of a sudden a flower may just grow. So one question that students will get confused: are grass flowering plants? Well, the answer is grass are actually flowering plants. There's very flowers on the grass. So spend some time, look at the grass around your neighborhood to see whether you can find any flowers on them. Next up, different parts of the plant. Well, you can see these pictures. This is a simple picture diagram of a flowering plant. We have the roots here, leaves, stem, bud, and flowers. So what are roots? Roots are usually found underground. Some plants have roots above the ground, like the mangrove tree in the picture here. But most of the plants, their roots are growing underground to absorb water and minerals from the soil. Next up, stem. Stems are usually found above the ground, but some plants, like onions, their stems are under the ground. Leaves. Leaves of different plants have different shape, size, and colors. You look at this shape here. There are plenty type of shapes and sizes for different plants. Fruits. Only flowering plants produce fruits. So fruits of different plants have different shape, size, color, and taste. Some are sweet, some are sour, some are bitter, and so on. Some food we can eat, but some food we cannot eat. After looking into flowering plants, let's look at non-flowering plants. All right. Plants that do not produce flowers are non-flowering plants. They do not have flowers. Some examples are bird nest ferns and mosses. So yes, you can see this one. A simple diagram here a plant. We have split into flowering plants and non-flowering plants. The similarity between both of them is both can make their own food. Both have green substance called chlorophyll. Both of them have roots, stem, and leaves. The only difference between them is whereby the flowering plants have flowers and they reproduce by sticks, whereas non-flowering plants, they have no flowers, they reproduce by spores. Next, we'll be exploring the plants in details and what are they made of. In the plant system, there are two types of systems for a primary school student to know. The first system is the root system, followed by the shoot system. The root system is located below the ground, responsible for absorbing water and minerals from the soil, as well as give firmness to the whole plant or tree. But bear in mind that only some their roots are on the ground, like the mangrove tree. Else, the rest are all under the ground, whereby they are basically there to absorb the water and mineral from the soil, as well as to hold the plants tightly on the ground so the plants do not shake or do not collapse. Next up, we have the system. The shoot system is located above the ground, and it helps the plants to make their own food by the process of photosynthesis, as well as for reproduction. The shoot system includes the organs such as stem, leaves, flowers in the flowering plants, and fruits if the plants have any. For non-flowering plants, it will just be a stem and leaf. So, what is photosynthesis? For 8-year-old students, photosynthesis, all you have to know is that involve light, involve carbon dioxide. The plant will take the light from the sun, carbon dioxide from the air, and mix up and form carbohydrates and oxygen. Of course, water is included as well. As you can see from the diagram here, water from the roots up to the leaf, carbon dioxide from the air into the leaf, light from the sun to the leaf, and it forms carbohydrate, is the food of the plant, and oxygen for the earth to breathe. If you are 9 years old to 11 years old, things are a bit tricky here. You have to know the following concept. Water absorbed from the roots. The light is trapped by chlorophyll. Carbon dioxide enters through the stomata of the leaves. The plants will then use these three ingredients, water, carbon dioxide, and light, to make food. And this food is basically converted into starch, whereby it's store food in other part of plants, and oxygen that's been given out to the air, back to the air. So I take in carbon dioxide, I give out oxygen. So in theory, plants capture sunlight using a compound called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is green. That's why all the plants, the leaves appear green. You might think at first that it's green because it wants to absorb and use the green light. However, based on what we learn about light, we know that the color we see is actually the color that's reflected. So chlorophyll actually reflects green light and absorb blue and red light. That's why the leaves is green in color. Yes, Victoria, yes, yum yum. Time to eat. Later you can have some vegetable. So a simple formula for everyone to know is carbon dioxide plus water involve light energy through the chlorophyll, give you glucose plus glucose in plants. Well, we humans eat food. The plants also eat food.
So during photosynthesis, the plant produce glucose molecules when they convert light energy to chemical energy. The chemical energy is stored in the bonds of glucose. So all plants actually makes glucose for them to eat or use for their day-to-day activities. Why do plants make glucose? What is the plant? What I mean, how the glucose do? What do plants do with it? Well, glucose molecule can be broken down for energy based on reaction of the plants. So they need the glucose to feed themselves for the growing of new stem or new leaves, so on and so forth. Just like we humans need food for our running, walking, breathing, and so on. All right, if you are above 12 years old, which I know some of you are, you have to know all these concepts. Photosynthesis is a process that converts solar energy into chemical energy that's used by biological systems. That means us. You notice that my slides have 3 different parts. If you are 8 years old and below, you only need to know light, carbon dioxide, water gives you carbohydrate, oxygen. If you are 9 years old to 11 years old, this diagram you need to know by heart, where we have chlorophyll trap light energy to make food and need water from roots, carbon dioxide from the stomata, from the air enter the stomata of the leaves, give out food and oxygen. But if you are 12 years old, you are expected to know all the keywords and process. If this is the examination, you have to write, convert solar energy to chemical energy to get marks. And you have to know this diagram whereby we have carbon dioxide plus water, light energy from the sun, and then chloroplast trap the light, then like that, and give you sugar, oxygen, and water, something along this line. All right. So photosynthesis for 12 years old and above have 3 major events. Number 1, sunlight is converted into chemical energy. Number 2, H2O water is split into oxygen. Number 3, carbon dioxide CO2 is fixed into sugar C6H12O6. So this is the requirement for all 12 years old and above to know these 3 major events. If you are 12 years old and below, it's good to know. All right. This is a formula that a 12 years old and above should know. Earlier we mentioned about this formula is for those 9 to 11 years old. Carbon dioxide plus water incorporate our light energy, give glucose plus oxygen. But however, if you are 12 years and below and above, you are expected to know all this formula. 6 carbon dioxide molecules, 6 CO2 plus 12 water molecule, 12 H2O plus sunlight gives you glucose. And the chemical formula for glucose is C6H12O6 plus 6 H2O, 6 water molecule, and 6 oxygen molecule. All right, this is a must to know for 12 years old and above. Now, let's go back to the math. Everyone should know now, after this lesson, reproduction in flowering plants. Just like we humans, I mean, a father and a mother marry together and give birth to baby. All right. So next up, well, flowers also have male and female, boy and girl. How do we know which one is boy, which one is girl? We look at the parts of the flowering plants. All right. In a male plant, we have this little red yellow color stick whereby the pollen grain will grow. When the grains are fully grown, this yellow colored parts here will split open, and we have this particular stick from here down here that holds the anther. All right, this is a male flowering plant. Next, we have the female flowering plant. We have the stigma, we have the ovaries, we have the style. Stigma is the sticky place for pollen to attach to it. And we have this particular pathway where the pollen travel to reach the egg. And lastly, ovary is where the egg is located. So male have pollen grains, sorry, female have eggs and ovary here, this part. All right. Next up, how does the male flower meet the female flower? They have no legs, right? I mean, just like a boy and girl, right? We humans, we have legs to meet each other, and if you like each other, we marry and have children. But for male and female flower, they are stuck on a plant. The plants don't move. So how they actually so-called meet each other and have baby? How? Through the following mechanism. The first mechanism is animal pollination. Well, we have birds and bees that transfer the pollen grain from the male flower to the female flower. All right. Next up. And all these flowers that needs the help of the animals, they are often bright in color and they have a very nice fragrance. All right. The second mechanism is wind pollination. Some plants, their pollen grains are actually very light and they can be carried by wind. Because this flower needs the wind help, they don't need animal help. The color of the flower is not so bright in color because I don't need animal, I don't need to attract animals. So I don't have bright colors or nice fragrance. All I need to do is my pollen grain is light so that when the wind blows, the pollen grain will be carried by the wind and the other part of female flowers. All right. The last mechanism is self-pollination. Self-pollination means, right, in a flower, they have both female and male parts. So at any point of time, as they like it, the male pollen grain will just travel down to the female parts and it can self-pollinate itself. These are the three mechanisms that you have to know after the lesson. Next up. So as you can see, we have the animals, we have the wind. So pollination occurs when the pollen grains landed on the stigma. So the bees here, the pollen grain on the leg will enter the female flowers. So now, after the flower have been pollinated, it will form into a fruit. The flower will close itself and become fruits. After some time, the fruits will either burst or be eaten by animals, and you have seeds inside to be carried away to form a new plant. So how does the seeds from the fruits travel to a new place to give sort of give birth to a new baby plant? We have the following different steps. Number one, by the wind. These three types of plants, like milkweed, the seeds after pollination done, the flower become fruits, and as it is involved, the seeds will be carried by the wind to a new location where it will germinate and form a new plant. We have the other section, like blackberry, will be traveled by animals to a new place. Water, like lotus, coconut, the seeds will be carried by the water to a new location where they will grow to a new plant. By bursting, when there is about time, the fruits will just burst, the seed will just spread down to the ground and form a new plant. Lastly, by humans, beans, wheat, and cherry. These are some examples of how the seeds travel. Now, after the seeds travel, they reach a place. And if this place has met all the conditions that the seeds need to germinate, it will grow. All the seed needs is to have enough warmth, enough water, and enough air. So if all these three conditions is met, the seed will germinate and grow into a baby plant. it will take 3 to 21 days for the seeds to germinate. So during germination, some of you may ask me, teacher, you mentioned in chapter 1 that all living things need to eat, need to breathe, need to drink water, but seeds got no leaf. How can the seed eat? So during germination, where does the plant get its food from? Well, as the plants grow from seedling, it gets its food from the seed leaves. All right. This seed leaves is somewhere here. See all the circle here from the seed leaves. As it continues to grow, the seed leaves and here will shrink and drop once the food has been used up. So all the seeds contain the seed leaf inside for the baby plants to eat, until the baby plant grow its first pair of leaves. This one, once used up, it will eventually use up and shrink and drop off. Next up. All right. So with that, I've covered plants from flowering plants, non-flowering plants, all the way to the parts of the flowers that to tell you whether how to see male or female, how the flowers pollen grain travel, how the seeds travel, and how the seeds germinate. With that, I will stop the presentation now, and I'll pass the floor to Alice. Carry on with the quiz. Alice, please.
Do I send the Google form to them?
Yeah, sure. So look at your Zoom chat or Zalo chat. There will be a Google form link. All right, you can see the chat now. There's a Google form link. Everyone, you can click on the Google form link, and you can do the quiz now. I'm trying to explore booklet. So maybe next lesson, we will do a short booklet. All right, you can see from the Zoom and the Zalo chat, there's this booklet form. You know, no, for those who have some difficulty joining in, no worries. I'm going to give you 5 to 10 minutes to do the Google quiz. After that, we'll go through together. All right. For those who have issue, no worries. Later, we will go through the Google link together. Right, in another 5 to 10 minutes time, we will carry on. Well, we can see from the we currently have over 50 plus participants. Okay, hi Lucia. We are going to do the Google quiz now. So once we have over half of the participants done the Google quiz, we will carry on the lessons. So for those who are done, just bear with us for a while. Let me look at some of the questions from the chat. Okay, someone asked me this questions. How do we describe? How do we know the exact words to describe photosynthesis? All right. Just now in our slides we mentioned that some of the slides we mentioned about different age for different definition. Well, for if you are age 8 years old and below, all you know is basically photosynthesis is a process that happens in plants that use sunlight to make their own food. So let me just share with everyone different age definition. So for ASO and below, you can see this is the example of how you're going to define photosynthesis. All right, photosynthesis is a process that happens in plants. They use sunlight to make their own food, and as a bonus, they release oxygen into the air for us to breathe. This is for 8 years old and below. If you're on 9 years old to 11 years old, this is the process. Let me type out the definition now. All right, if you are 9 years old and 11 years old, this is the example. Let me just share in the group chat, share in the chat now. 9 years old to 11 years old. This is how the pyramid. Okay. All right, if you are 9 years old to 11 years old, the process is how the plants make their own food. They use sunlight, air, and water to create sugar for them to use and oxygen to the surrounding. All right. If you are age 12 years old and above, let me just share the let me just share the Zoom chat now. For 12 years old and above, convert for 12 years old and above, well, please see the group, the chat now. For 12 years old and above, the definition of photosynthesis should be like this. Photosynthesis is a vital process in which green plants, algae, and some bacteria convert sunlight to chemical energy. They use this energy to transform carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. The process occurs in specialized structure called chloroplast, where the green pigment chlorophyll captures sunlight and power the conversion of these raw materials into food for the plants and oxygen for the environment. So based on each group, these are the definition of everyone. Well, I think some of you have some issue on the let me see. Oh, okay, sorry, my bad. I sent to a individual. Let me just share to all again. One moment. Okay, so can you all see my chat now? Let me share my screen now. So the long definition for 12 years old and above, photosynthesis is the vital process in which green plants, algae, and some bacteria convert sunlight into chemical energy. They use this energy to transform carbon dioxide and water into glucose, a type of sugar, and oxygen. The process occurs in specialized structures called chloroplasts, where the green pigment chlorophyll captures sunlight and power the conversion of these raw materials into food for the plants and oxygen for the environment. All right. So this is by right the definition for a 12 years old and above to know. But if you are 11 and below, don't worry too much. Just look at the chat in the Zoom and you should be fine. Right. Okay, let us go through the question together. All right. Let me just try to go through the question together now. Okay, my email is this. Let me log in first and go through together. Okay, let me just share my screen now and go through the lesson. Okay, let's look at question number 1. How do I get out of this? Okay. Can the plants make their own food? Yes, the plant can make their own food. True or false? Flowering plants can bear flowers all the time. Well, earlier in our lesson, we mentioned that flowering plants cannot bear flower all the time. It's dependent on season and timing, so answer is false. While the flowering plants grow, they have flowers right away. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, flowering plants, right, as they grow, once they reach adulthood, then only the flowers will come out. All right. We can live with or without plants. It doesn't matter. For this question, it's a bit tricky. There are two answers to it. Why do I say so? If you are coming from the food perspective, we humans, we can eat meat. Don't need to have plants. But if you're coming in the environment perspective, yes, we must we cannot live without plants. Why? Because the plants will recycle the carbon dioxide and give out oxygen for us to breathe. So for this question, I believe the answer is we cannot live without plants, because the plants in the daytime, they will convert carbon dioxide to oxygen for us to breathe in. All right. Things that a plant need. Plants don't need mother. The plants need food, air, and water. What makes the plants green? Well, the only thing that in the plants that make the plants green is called chlorophyll. All right. What is this? This is the part of the plant. Are all the food edible? Well, the answer is not all food are edible. Some are poison. Tell us about photosynthesis. All right, for this question, right, as long as you give the answer that we have learned just now, right, it's fine. All right, based on age group, the ASO and below, 9 to 11, and 12 and above. All right. Last question. Mango tree have roots above the ground. All right. So that's about it. How we do the tests now. Some of you ask me, rubber food is definitely not edible, right? Well, rubber food, I don't think so. Nope. All right. So let us look at the homework now. Okay, let me just all right. Homework. We have been studying flowering and non-flowering plants just now. All right, from the around 8:30 Vietnam time, we were studying flowering, non-flowering plants. We know their parts. We know that flowering plants have flower, non-flowering plants have no flowers. Just like homework 1, please select 4 plants for the purpose of categorization into flowering and non-flowering categories. For the flowering plants that you have selected, you need to tell us how their seeds travel to a new place, grow into a new baby plants. You have the option to either create drawings or record a video. Do share your work on Padlet or Facebook, and remember to update the Google links that Dr. Duke will send later. So with that, I will end the lesson early today. I will see you all next week for animals. Right? That's it. I will end the lesson today. So please, I'll send the homework things in Zalo as well, so that you all can know as well. With that, sorry.
Goodbye, teacher.
Yes.
Bye, teacher.
Hi, teacher.
Teachers.
Hi.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, take care.
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye.
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye, take care.
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye. Bye, take care. See you. Bye, take care. See you. Bye. I'll see you next week. Bye, take care.
Goodbye, teacher. Goodbye, teacher. Everyone left. It's super noisy here. Hi, teacher. Hi. This is so noisy. Let's go with Quincy. What's happening? Goodbye, teacher. Goodbye, teacher. Room now, guys. Possible. What? That was crazy. What? Hey, why you scream this? That's not that mine. But I talk to everybody, please. Why did they use noisy, friend? Yeah, boy. It's this. Where's mine?
Okay. Bye em. Cô Giang nha. Bye bye.
This is unbelievable.
100 mấy mà.
Dạ. Ok, cô Em nha.
Okay. Possible. Well, wait. Maybe less.